Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. Two things to talk about today. First is some more Zen Monkey Studios news with some new pins now available to purchase. And then there's also some more Turf Wars Part 2 preview pages which I will go over. So let's start with the pins. And as we have expected and as I've covered in some of my more recent videos, some of the next batch of Avatar The Last Airbender pins have gone up. So 3 of the next 5 Avatar pins have gone up. This obviously being the Team Avatar ones that they had talked about a while ago. So currently on sale now is the Airbending Aang, which is obviously different than the original Aang on Air Scooter one here. We also have Firebending Zuko, which they teased a couple of weeks ago. And then we have Earthbending Toph here. Again, they're all the same price as the other ones, $9.99 each. I did put in an order just there before I recorded this video for the Zuko and the Toph. Right now I'm happy with the Aang here. If they do another kind of Aang that really kind of interests me, I probably will get that at some point. But I placed an order for these two in part as well because I don't know if it was just me, but it seems like once again they have another offer on. This time it seems to be a buy one pin, get a second pin 50% off. So it means that if you buy 2 pins, you get both of them for the combined price of 15. And that really helps, I suppose, international customers if you're worried about shipping and so on. That basically means that you know, it more or less kind of pays for the shipping, getting $5 off one of the pins. That's how much the international shipping tends to be. So it really helps. You know, it means that you can realistically, pretty comfortably order 2 pins and you shouldn't have to worry about customs or anything like that. As I said, I ordered my first 2 pins, the Aang and Iroh, back in November, and when they arrived in the middle of December, there was no problem whatsoever with the order, so I was pretty confident going ahead with another one. So yeah, pretty cool that we have these 3. The artist on Tumblr, Angupants, did confirm that Katara and Sokka are coming soon, so just be aware of that. I don't know specifically how long, but from what I can remember, they only had they put the Toph up yesterday, and then it's only been like a few minutes or potentially a couple of hours ago that they've put the Zuko and Aang up. So it could even be like before the end of the week or something like that they put up the other 2. But just be aware that that's what's coming right now. And then hopefully we'll see some of the other ones that they've sort of teased, like Avatar 1, Milo, Suki, those type of pins as soon as possible. So, as expected, then, going into the next piece of news, we have more Turf Wars Part 2 preview pages. This was obviously expected because the way Amazon's preview system works is that usually if you have enough people check out the preview pages, someone's going to manage to find some new ones, and of course that's exactly what happened here, and we have some new preview pages. 6 new ones, so it means we have 12 of the 72 pages of the book already, and it seems like these follow up basically immediately on from the previous batch that we have. The gist of them, as you can see here, being that we focus more on Mako and Bolin here, and getting into, I suppose, how exactly what happened at the end of Turf Wars Part 1 is being investigated as like a police incident, because there was a big attack. You know, there's a reason that the Spirit Portal is now being kind of cordoned off. A lot of that, of course, brings the police into play. So obviously Bolin and Mako gave a report on the situation. Bolin wrote it here, which is some of the humor in this scene, that Lin is not happy at all with the quality of Bolin's writing and just demands that it be readable next time. We do also get the idea that this is where Lin, I suppose, finds out about Korra and Asami, and her response is basically just, huh, well, what do you know? So she seems pretty accepting of it, doesn't seem to care massively, but it's somewhat intrigued, I suppose. That's an interesting one. And then at the end we get that Mako brings up the idea that Korra says she thinks it might be Wan Yong Kum behind it all. And we get here on the next page the explanation of like why exactly that is, and Mako explains the reasoning for this, and he thinks like, okay, well fine, we'll just go ahead and bring him in for questioning. But Lin brings up the idea that because he's such a powerful and well-connected person, it's not, they can't just go out and arrest someone or like bring them in for questioning so easy like that. They have to have really solid proof. and so on. So that's what she says. Unless you bring me some hard evidence that Kuma is in type with the triple threats, I'm not going near that guy. Understood? And that's where they have to kind of figure out to find the connection and prove it, which is where they go next. Them suggesting that they go to visit their 12-toed friend in prison, which of course is Two-Toed Ping here. And that's what we get here. There's not much to talk about necessarily here. Just the idea that of course he was captured in the kind of previous book, and on the next page we just get the idea that Bolin begins to figure out that, oh, maybe the way messages are being passed around now under Tokuga is similar to the way when they were in the triads it was passed around before, which was that they used kids or teenagers to pass message between the key triple threat members, and maybe that's happening again. So it seems like that's where they're kind of going to kind of to find some kind of kids that are potentially passing these messages on for. And Two-Toed Ping seems to more or less kind of hint at that, and Mako seems to praise Bolin for this kind of idea. So, and he just notes that he's learning from the best, and we kind of move on from there. So we cut over to Raiko and his campaign manager, and obviously this is about the housing crisis in the aftermath of Book 4, which Raiko was sort of forced into agreeing to. He didn't really want to do it, but it was basically Asami and Jiuli coming up with the idea, kind of joint, that really brought this idea into fruition. And his campaign manager begins to make some promises that Raiko can't really agree to, but his campaign manager thinks that it would be good PR if he says the right thing. So, seeming to confirm that they'll be in these new houses by the end of the month, when it seems like construction is only just beginning on them. So, immediately presenting a problem. But if they use benders, I suppose maybe they could build houses quicker than normally. But yeah, the reveal of them is that it's going to be the Raiko residencies, and they're all very impressed by this, except that, of course, it was Asami's designs, and I suppose Julie's kind of overall kind of vision, I suppose, that's kind of bringing this into the forefront. They just want the PR, whereas Asami and Julie have actually done most of the work, and that's more or less what we get here with the arrival here of Korra, as we're obviously about to get down to some business that's happening next. And then our last page, actually we have 7 pages now that I remember, is this one here. Korra gets off the bison, Ugi, and yeah, immediately goes at Raiko, because of course she knows that he was the one who ordered the kind of military presence around the spirit portal, and is basically presenting the idea of like, yeah, the portal is sacred land, Raiko, you can't turn it into a military base, and he refuses to call it off. And she's basically pointing out here, I think what she's very clearly referencing is, I think, how he reacted to the events of Book 2 in terms of not handling a crisis that involves spiritual matters very well at all, and leaving her to kind of be the one to figure it out. And that's what's happening here. And yeah, and then she obviously points out, who's going to vote for you then if a crisis is caused? And he just all he says is just, we wouldn't have a crisis if you hadn't created that portal in the first place. And she just points out that, like, she didn't do it on purpose. She tried to save the city, and that's just what happened. That was the result of it. So very much again, Raiko being presented as very, very dislikable. Not a very likable character at all. They're not really being particularly balanced in trying to really present him as a character, which I don't mind. I'm not trying to like defend Raiko or anything like that, but I'm sort of wondering, is this just going to be how kind of to the point the plot is going to be, that basically Julie runs for president and just kind of has to be the default president because Raiko is just this bad? Or are they eventually going to get to a point where they reveal something good about him, or will they further just go down the path of maybe vilifying him? I am actually interested to see where they go with him, because this really could be the book that transitions Raiko from just like, yeah, we're sort of done with him as a character, or it could be the book that really, I suppose, makes him into something interesting. I don't really know, but right now it's not looking particularly good for him, with his campaign manager making promises he can't keep. I think that could be something they do, that the campaign manager may end up being like, he's been putting ideas in Raiko's head, and Raiko doesn't actually agree with a lot of what the campaign manager says, but just wants to stay in office, but actually has some good ideas. There's a lot of ways they can go with it. They just have to, I think, cover it with enough detail as they can. I am happy that they're addressing the spirit issue, but I more want to see the spirit issue addressed in terms of humans and how spirits like interact with each other, and not so much humans arguing with each other about how respectful they should be to spirits. Like, I really want to see the spirit side of this be explored, and not just presented all as like humans' problems, when like I feel like we fundamentally in a way don't know the spirits enough to fully understand their position and understand why all the humans are so, especially like Korra, the likes of Korra and so on, outside of just their spirits. Like, why are they trying so hard to, like, you know, be respectful when the spirits have not really presented all that much in return? So that's where I feel the development really needs to come in. Whereas it seems like this book is more tackling the kind of political ideas of just how humans are arguing about how to actually handle spirits. Of course, you know, this is just the first, you know, bit of the book, the first sixth of the book. There's still a lot more of Turf Wars to go with part 3, plus the rest of part 2, which we haven't got yet. But yeah, we're just over a week away from release. No, actually, we are a week away from release. What am I thinking? Today is Wednesday. So yeah, next week we'll have the book will be out in comic stores. It's January 30th for the release of the book elsewhere. But yeah, I think that's basically all I want to cover in this video. Zen Monkey Studio pins, as I said at the start, these 3 new ones are now out. They do have their deal on, which is buy 1 pin, get 1 pin 50% off. I don't know if you can use it multiple times. I assume it's a one use per account type thing, but I'm not particularly sure. But yeah, new Aang pin, new Zuko pin, new Toph pin, and 7 actually more preview pages for Turf Wars. So we actually have 13 of the pages from the book. So yeah, that has been the video. Thanks for watching this video, and bye.